Welcome to Module 3. In this unit, we're going to review the risk management and due diligence process that Labat International completes for each air charter flight. So just kind of a short unit, but we'll just go over some of the important things that you want to be taking a look at before you charter aircraft from commercial operators. So the minimum qualifications for air charter operators, flight crew requirements, aircraft requirements, and insurance requirements are just a basic foundation for you to understand when chartering aircraft. So one of the first things we want to take a look at is we want to make sure the air charter operator has an air carrier certificate from the FAA or an operating certificate from the FAA with the examples shown here. Of course, they will be filled out with the air carrier's name and address, where their base of operations are. There'll be a certificate number issued from the FAA, an effective date, and normally where it's issued from, probably the Flight Standard District Office that governs the air carrier, or they call it a FSDO, but Flight Standards District Office is usually the regional FAA office for that particular air carrier. The other thing we'll want to take a look at is the D85. The D85 is an industry-specific term that refers to page 85, section D of a charter operator's federally mandated operations manual that it must have. And this is, again, what the PMI we talked about, and the POI, Principal Operation Inspector, will work with the air carrier as far as keeping that updated as new aircraft are added to the certificate. But the D85 will have a listing of each aircraft that is approved to fly on that air carrier operator certificate, and will be very specific as far as the registration number, the serial number for that aircraft, and the type aircraft. And you can see that on the right hand side here with an example of a D85. The other thing that we're going to take a look at, and again, a lot of this is completed for us by Wyvern or Argus with the trip checks and the past checks that we complete. But one of the things we're looking for is a minimum total time from the pilot in command of 3,000 hours and a minimum total time of 1,000 hours for the second in command, the SIC. And then total time as a PIC, we're looking for at least 1,500 hours, that the pilots had 1,500 hours as the PIC and 500 hours with the SIC. And then time and type, we're looking for a minimum for both Argus and Wyvern that the pilot in command has had at least 100 hours in the type specific aircraft that we're trying to get approval for. As far as aircraft requirements, for Labat International, we required a minimum of a twin-engine aircraft and flown by 2 pilots. For cargo flights, we'll consider single-engine aircraft and a single pilot on a case-by-case basis. But for our company, it's going to be minimum of a twin-engine aircraft. The other big thing we're looking at for is insurance requirements. And for a commercial type aircraft that we occasionally use for cargo type flights, say for like a 747, we're going to look for a minimum of $500 million for that liability insurance per aircraft. For heavy jets, such as a BBJ, for example, we're going to look for a minimum of $100 million. For medium and light jets that seat up to 15 seats, we're going to be looking for a minimum of $5 million. In this case, it's per installed seat. And then for fixed wing turboprop turbine helicopters, we're looking for a minimum of $3 million per installed seat for each aircraft. And then for piston, which we rarely use, but occasionally it'll be $1 million per installed seat. Again, we'll typically only use piston more for cargo type flights, but a piston twin engine airplane. So this was just a quick unit. We've discussed the risk management and due diligence that Labat International completes for each air charter flight. The operator due diligence is typically accomplished with the Wyvern Safety Intelligence Report in the U.S. that will validate the operator as a current air carrier operator authority, with the examples I showed you earlier with the certificates, and the appropriate levels of insurance, and will review previous accident and incidents as well as past enforcement actions and ongoing investigations by government agencies. They will also review past or pending civil or criminal legal actions taken by the operator. Trip-specific due diligence is accomplished with the Wyvern Pass Report or an Argus Trip Check report, and will validate the crew is appropriately rated, validate that the aircraft is under direct operational control of the charter operator, and the aircrew meets the minimum standards. They have not had any recent accidents, incidents, enforcement, any sanctions, or any actions.